Hey guys, this is Joel from the Fincastle Pokemon Gym. Now my initial impression of Terapgos EX was pretty indifferent. For those of you that have been around a while, the deck seemed a lot like Mega Rayquaza EX from the XY era. Actually a whole lot like that deck. Just the names had changed to protect the innocent basically. Mega Rayquaza was good and accessible, meaning anyone could pick it up and win games with it. But I was never into it. I was a Mega Manectric EX and Mega Gengar EX guy, and it paid off as those decks won Georgia, our daughter, the last ever Maryland State Championship, top 4 in Dallas, top in Florida. It paid dividends for Logan as well, so he got several top 4s and finals during that era. But when they made Mega Rayquaza 2.0 or Terapagos EX, I couldn't get that excited for it, because I'd already been there and done that. But as I've racked up wins over it on TCG Live, only one time did I encounter someone trying to play it differently than as instructed. And that did get my interest, but as I had a full palette of decks I was already working on, I would throw in a game now and then with Terapagos just to see what was there, and there obviously is some potential there. I've got some pretty rough ideas on the drawing board, but the one I've played with the most is the tanky defensive version. But so I don't get too far ahead of myself, let's pull the card up first. Terapagos EX is a basic 230 HP colorless type. It's got 2 attacks, no ability, weakness to fighting types, and a 2 energy retreat cost. His first attack, called Unified Beatdown, I don't know how we got there from the actual translation, which is Union Beat, as maybe Seattle didn't want to offend the Teamsters or something. But hey, there's nothing more unifying than a good beatdown, I suppose. But as we all know by now, it does 30 damage for each of your bench Pokemon, just like Mega Rayquaza EX, maxing out at 240 damage, 220 if you charge it with a double turbo, as that reduces your attack damage by 20. Its second attack, which is what interests me, is called Crown Opal. For a mix of a grass, a water, and a lightning energy, it does 180 damage and prevents damage done by any basic Pokemon that is not colorless. Let me see if I can put what that means into some perspective for you. At the moment, there are 1,141 cards in the standard format that are non-colorless basics. Obviously, not all of those are played. Actually, very few of them are played. But to further illustrate the significance of that, there are only 173 colorless basics in the standard format. And as far as what is played, there are 19 colorless Vs and EXs total, of which basically 3 of them are played with any regularity. Now we've entered into a world of math far beyond anything this history major is going to try to process, but I think I like those odds. I don't think there is any Terapagos list that does not have a lot of different cards, but it is not as hectic as this may look. What I like about this list is that you can play it 2 different ways, and how you play it depends on what you are playing against. If you're playing against any type of evolution deck, or an opposing Terapagos deck, like a mirror match, you pursue strategy 1. That strategy is simple. Get Terapagos in play, along with the stadium, then use the support Pokemon to fill up the 8 Pokemon bench spaces as quickly as possible, and then use Unified Beatdown and try to hit for 240 damage every turn. But if you see you are facing a deck with basic attackers, either EXs or Vs, or even non-rule box basic Pokemon like the little baby Roaring Moon, get Crown Opal, charge as fast as you can. And if they don't have an answer or a counter, that might be the end of the game right there. In either case, I chose support Pokemon and trainers that beef up Terapagos and make him very difficult to knock out. At 230 HP, he has solid HP already, so the first thing added was Bravery Charm. Charm instantly takes Terapagos to VSTAR level HP at 280 HP. I'm boosting that further by including Bouffalant, 3 of those to be specific, and that's because you have to have 2 in play for it to work. Bouffalant's ability Curly Wall reduces damage done to your basic colorless Pokemon by 60, and if you watch my Torterra video, that is a better version of what Kricketune does in that deck. Now, whether you want to consider it reducing damage or adding HP, either way you have to do 340 damage to take out 1 Terapagos EX. I've got lots of consistency cards in here. I've got the 2 Fan Rotom to get things started, help you get out other colorless Pokemon. I've got a 2/2 Noctowl line to get 2 trainer cards, so that's literally everything in the deck. I've got a 1/1 B barrel line for some extra draw power, 1 Squawkabilly EX, and a Radiant Greninja. Now the major playstyle difference in this, whichever way your matchup dictates that you go, is the use of basic energy and the glass trumpet item. This item allows you to attach 2 basic energies from your discard pile to 2 benched colorless Pokemon, 1 to each, much like Seta's Vitality. The differences are you have to have a Terra in play. You don't have to attach to Terra, there just has to be one in play, and you can only attach to benched ones. So you just have to think before you act in this one. It's not hard to set up, as you can discard with Radiant Greninja, Earthen Vessel, Ultra Ball, Professor's Research, and Squawkabilly, and you just need to plan what type you toss and what you attach from your hand. You'll probably misplay here when you first try this deck, but after a mistake or two, you'll learn, and it will become something that you don't have to think that hard about. Now I said this deck is about defense. The Crown Opal attack and the HP boost are a big part of it, but not all of it. I played 2 Penny and 1 Scoop Up Cyclone A-Spec. Now not too many things will be able to hit you for a straight 340 damage. Actually, I think only Charizard can do that, and that's just late in those matches. Everything else that can is a basic that you can just wall with Crown Opal. So after you take damage from whatever can damage you, you can pick up that Terapagos EX with either Penny or your A-Spec and just erase that damage completely. And in those matches, you're probably just using the Unified Beatdown attack, your 2 energy attack, so it's not that hard to have a second one of those going, or to recharge the one that you just picked up if you use your trumpets correctly. So you may be able to pick up a damaged EX 2 or 3 times in those games. A Roaring Moon EX may take you out with a Frenzied Gouging, but if they do, you can clean them up with the Assault Landing attack from Rotom if nothing else. Now that's the deck. If I missed something, feel free to ask in the comments, but let's get to some games so you can see how it works. This first game was one of the only ones I was able to get recorded with Roaring Moon, which is really what I wanted to test this out against, and it was a learning experience. Now, my opponent went first. On my turn, with this handful of Ultra Balls and the Glass Trumpet in my hand, you can see I have an opportunity to try to get a first turn Crown Opal, especially with the active Squawkabilly they have. It's kind of an awkward hand to play out of, but that is what I'm trying to get here. So I'm going to go ahead and get a Squawkabilly down. I'll use this Glass Trumpet to get an energy attachment, and then we will Squawk and Seize. Again, another kind of awkward group of cards to try to play around with. No Stadium is the worst part of this, but Greninja, concealed cards, still no Stadium. I'll switch to that Greninja and hopefully we can get maybe the Escape Board or Switch to switch him out. Go ahead and research. Still no Stadium, but there's the Glass Trumpet. I've got the energy attachments for that first turn Crown Opal. I just could not hit a way to get Greninja out of the way. So that game would have been over, I think, from that point on if I could have got that switch out. I think they didn't really know what to do there as well, so they did charge a Roaring Moon, but then just sent up a Greninja. Didn't have a way to catch. I guess they didn't want to attack that Greninja and waste their turn. I'm going to get down that second Bouffalant and boost my defense. Then with Radiant Greninja, I'm going to draw and finally get the Stadium that I needed about 20 cards ago. We'll get down another Terapagos EX. And since I can't seem to get much else to draw with, I'm going to scoop up that Radiant Greninja. Also picked up the Squawkabilly with the Penny. Then with the Earthen Vessel, get a couple energies. And I'm going to reuse Radiant Greninja, so get two uses out of him in one turn. And they are determined to give me a Penny, so I'm going to attach from my hand to that Terapagos on the bench. We'll knock out this Greninja with Crown Opal, and we'll see what they want to do. And that was kind of why I wanted to play this match. And their theory, I guess, was to catch around the Terapagos EX with the shields up, but I don't think they probably realized that with the Bouffalant that they can only do 160 damage, so they did go ahead and Frenzied Gouging to knock out that first one. I get a Stadium back in play. I'm going to put some got the energy that I want in my discard pile, so I'm going to just get that set of Pokemon back. Do want to get that Fan Rotom down, and that's going to be one of the lessons I learned on this match. We'll get to that in a minute. We'll go ahead and get down 2 more Terapagos EX. Probably didn't need to get just one of those down. Kind of playing through this match off a theory in my head. I hadn't really played this matchup before. So with Radiant Greninja, we will conceal cards again. Finally get the that Noctowl I would have liked to have also seen second turn. With his ability, I'm going to get Ultra Ball. And I want to get that board down, so I've got that ability to make somebody a free retreater. I'm going to attach it to Radiant Greninja here. I'm going to Ultra Ball away this last Terapagos EX and an extra stadium to get my B-Barrel down. Give me some protection from getting Ionoed or anything like that. We'll draw with B-Barrel. Some more energy options there. Don't need to do anything there, so I'm going to Crown Opal again, which will knock out this Roaring Moon that was damaged by Frenzied Gouging, and put my shields back up and put them into that scenario where we're going to see what they're going to do again. They get another Roaring Moon and Frenzied Gouging to take this one out. I think they've realized at this point that's probably the only path they have. So I'd send up that Radiant Greninja, and this is where I've got that Glass Trumpet. What I should have done here, and I did not, is when I play this Trumpet, go ahead and charge the Terapagos, and I should have put this other energy on that Fan Rotom. But kind of a play I saw in hindsight. I attach from my hand to fully charge the Terapagos, and then I'm going to Iono and lock them down into a 2-card hand. And like I said, the play here should have been to come up with that Fan Rotom and just use him to finish off this Roaring Moon and put them in a spot where they would have to try to catch me. I go ahead and finish off the self-damaged Roaring Moon and take 2 more, get to just 1 prize card remaining. And thankfully, they've dug through what they could. They got some cards back in their hand. They could not get an energy, so they swapped up with Peacherunt and just kind of gave me that Roaring Moon after lots of angry emojis. And I was able to escape that one with a win. It is definitely a learning game, to say the least. Now, I've got some matches against like Raging Bolt, Rhydon, Raikou V. They're really pretty dull because they just end in concessions after a few turns. This was against Palkia. I think Greninja just won something like in South America. Picking it up on my second turn, I did go first. That's definitely an advantage in this deck. Sometimes you can get a first turn attack if you go second, but I think you're probably better off going first with this. Off of that Jewel Seeker, I'm getting my stadium. Get down that second Bouffalant. That'll boost my my defense here. Got another Terapagos down. And with the Nest Ball, we'll get Greninja. It's okay to go ahead and waste like the A-Spec on a play like this just to get some out of the way, because you still have that and the 2 pennies. So, I'm going to do that. And then we will Unified Beatdown for the knockout on the Palkia. They don't have another Palkia in play, so that's definitely a setback for their side. They get 2 more down, attach 1, and pass back to me. They also caught my Bouffalant, trying to trap me, I guess, for a turn. I'll get that Charm down on the Terapagos that I just attacked with, get another energy down there. I'm going to hold on to that Glass Trumpet and Ultra Ball. And with that Ultra Ball, we're just going to get another Noctowl, so we can Jewel Seeker again. I'm going to chase this guy with the energy on him. Might want to chase the Froakie in this game, but I think getting ahead by 4 prizes, it's safe to just go ahead and go this route. So I'm going to get a switch and a boss and get that Bouffalant back out of the way. And then we'll boss up the Palkia with the energy. I guess really any of those targets. You can take either Palkia or the Fezandipity. I'll Glass Trumpet to the bench Terapagos, and then we will Unified Beatdown again. Take 2 more prizes. This is going pretty quickly, as this deck can. Like I said, this is kind of the alternate way to play this one. They do get a Greninja, they get a Palkia VSTAR. Get pretty set up, but I think it's a little bit late. That Greninja comes up and knocks me out. They actually caught the one on the bench because they had to use Prime Catcher to get active. I had Boss and Water in my hand, so all I have to do is just boss up the Mew. I could have got the Palkia or the Fezandipity again, Unified Beatdown, and take the last two. Now I know I'm running a bit long here, but in that matchup with Palkia and the Greninja EX, I think the strategy there, because they only play a 1-1 line of that Greninja, is if they get it earlier, use the same combo I talked about in the Roaring Moon game. Punch that Greninja EX one time for 240 damage, then just hit him a second time with the Fan Rotom for 70, and that will get you exactly to that 310 mark that you need to hit. Now I think this is an excellent list. I'm just resistant to the deck because basically I'm old and stubborn. I have zero interest in playing the Influencer version, but this one is starting to grow on me. Depending on where the format goes, I can see this being a very deadly deck in the right hands. You definitely want to practice your matchups because how you play this will vary against each one. But it seems to have pretty good answers to everything. And don't forget, it just closes the door completely on at least 10 decks that have placed at events recently. So that's all for today. I hope you like exploring this one. Be sure to check out my other videos if you have not already. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be not afraid. Later.